Right Brollies, hear me out. The ROG Azoth is, in my opinion, the best mechanical keyboard ROG has ever put out in the market to date. And like I said in my dedicated unboxing of this keyboard, this is probably the first time I got so excited on an ROG keyboard. The reason is that unlike their old mechanical keyboards, the ROG Azoth features a relatively standard layout, standard mechanical switches with a swappable PCB, and an easy to modify construction, and on top of that, a gasket mount design with multiple sound dampening foams, all of which caters to us mechanical keyboard enthusiasts. They even included some lubing tools to go along with it, which made me believe that they are really leaning toward not just gamers, but the entirety of the mechanical keyboard community. It's not perfect, but perfect enough to check all my boxes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily crack this open and provide you with the rest of my thoughts. With that being said, let's get into it. Like I said, I already released a dedicated unboxing video of the ROG Azoth, which you can watch here. But essentially, inside the box, we have a welcome note from ROG, the ROG Azoth itself nicely wrapped by a soft cloth, an accessory box, a warranty card, a quick start guide, and a set of ROG stickers. Inside the accessory box, we have a bunch of items. We have a braided cable, a Crytox 205 grade 0 switch lube, a USB Type-A to Type-C adapter with a clip, a metal switch puller, a plastic keycap puller, a mechanical keyboard switch opener, a lubing brush, a small lubing station, 8 stabilizer mats, some QR codes that lead to online guides, and a few spare ROG NX Red switches. The ROG Azoth is made out of a combination of aluminum top housing and plastic bottom case, resulting in a pretty robust build quality that doesn't flex and has a substantial weight of around 1.1 kilograms. In terms of the layout, it features a relatively standard exploded 75% form factor with some of the nav cluster keys on the right side, dedicated arrow keys, full function rows up top, and standard alphanumeric keys including the bottom row. I mentioned relatively since the function rows don't have the standard gap in between them like most 75% keyboards. This is to accommodate the substantially sized OLED display in the upper right corner. We'll tackle this further later. I also appreciate the subtle chamfered edges all around the keyboard, giving it a bit of a rounded look. Looking at the front side, you'll get a better view of where the two materials combine and their difference in terms of the colorway. We also have a subtle ROG logo on the left side just to have a bit of branding. Now, flipping it on the left side, this is where we start to recognize some familiar ROG gamer design language, and as you can tell, the case profile is somewhat a hybrid between high profile and floating keys design. The stock keycaps feature a cherry profile and are made out of durable PBT double shot material. Interestingly, on the other side, we can see the three-way multifunction knob with the side button. Flipping it at the back side, we have a dedicated switch for changing modes between Bluetooth, wired mode, and 2.4 GHz wireless connection. We also have a dedicated magnetic compartment for the USB dongle and the USB Type-C port on the other side. I also appreciate that the USB dongle has an ROG logo, which makes it stand out from the rest of my dongles and is easy to recognize. Turning it all over to the bottom, we have 4 rubber feet and 4 flip-out stands including 2 shorter ones, all of which has rubber tip as well. We also have the iconic ROG I logo right here, some technical details diagonally placed on a sticker here, and the Republic of Gamers logo. We can also see here all the screws that keep the aluminum top casing and the plastic bottom case together. Personally, I would have preferred a full aluminum chassis for a more premium feel, but I understand that having a plastic part is essential for the stability of the wireless connection, although I've seen some keyboards like the AM Compact Touch that were able to accomplish that with just a small window. But I also understand that having a full aluminum construction comes with a significant amount of cost, so this will do. And at the end of the day, this is still a mainstream gaming keyboard rather than a premium enthusiast custom mechanical keyboard. Now going back in front, let's take a closer look at the 2-inch OLED display. This highly customizable OLED display can show multiple things at once using small icons, which include caps lock, profile, connection mode, battery level, and OS mode, and larger ones which include custom animation, texts, banners, and system information like CPU and GPU temperature. All of these are customizable via the Armoury Crate software. We also have different modes that you can toggle using the multifunction knob, which includes volume adjustment, media playback, keyboard brightness, OLED screen brightness, and lighting modes. Aside from the physical switch at the backside, this also makes switching between devices fairly easy when it comes to Bluetooth mode. And the best thing about this is that you can also customize the function of the knob to pretty much anything that you want that the Armoury Crate software supports. We'll take a further look at that later. I also appreciate that I can put my YouTube channel's intro animation here, which is absolutely cool. Unnecessary, but definitely awesome. Overall, this OLED panel partnered with the multifunction knob makes this keyboard easier to use. However, what I don't like about this display is that it is extremely easy to scratch. I literally just wipe it off with a microfiber cloth and it immediately got some hairline scratches. It would have been better if they used durable glass instead of plastic, especially considering its price. Now, in my honest opinion, even without this fancy OLED display, the ROG Azoth in itself with its standard layout and everything else it has to offer is enough for me to consider. But of course, this is ROG, so we gotta have that extra bells and whistles, right? Alright, so let's focus our attention on the teardown experience, and I'll make this as short as possible because I still have a lot of things to cover. Tearing this keyboard apart is actually super easy, but before that, I think it would have been better if ROG included a small Allen screwdriver along with this kit to make it easier for beginners. Anyways, the first step is to unscrew all the visible screws around the bottom case. All the screws are at the same height, which is nice. And that's pretty much about it, no need to pry any plastic clips. We can now lift the aluminum top housing like so. Now here's a closer look at the OLED panel cover, and like I said, it could have been better if this is glass or at least coated with a scratch resistant layer. After that, we can now slowly and gently lift the PCB and plate combo because it is connected to a daughter board using a ribbon cable. Next, and this is only required if you need to have access to the bottom case, we need to gently remove the porn foam since it's quite sticky. This porn foam dampens or reduces case ping and hollow sound. After that, you'll see two daughter boards, one for the USB Type-C port and wireless module, and another one for the OLED panel. Both are connected via ribbon cables. Removing the ribbon cable is pretty straightforward, like so. Here at the top center, we also have the battery. I'm not sure exactly the capacity, but it is rated up to 2000 hours, but that is with OLED and RGB off. What's interesting to me here is that unlike other wireless mechanical keyboards, the ROG Azoth features their own wireless module right here, which gives confidence about its potential performance. Now, aside from the porn foam, we also have silicone foam right here to further improve the sound quality of this keyboard. Now, looking closer into the PCB, we can see that the hot swap sockets are made by TTC. And flipping the PCB and plate combo to its side, we can see these small silicone gaskets that isolate and removes the direct contact of the PCB and plate from the casing and allows for a softer typing feel. While we're at it, I also remove the keycaps and switches. After that, we just need to remove the screws around that hold the PCB and plate together. All screws are of the same height as well. In between the PCB and plate, we have a pretty dense 3.5mm thick silicone dampener to absorb most of the unwanted sounds like reverb and ping. Now looking at the PCB, we have some ROG branding, but most importantly, we can take a closer look at the stabilizer housing, very unique to say the least. Now it is worth noting that even though this keyboard doesn't use co-star stabilizers anymore compared to their old keyboards, they are still using their proprietary plate mount ROG stabilizers, which have their own pros and cons. These are pre-lubed, which is nice to see, but are quite finicky to work around, especially when it comes to removing the stem from the keycap. They are generally decent, especially compared to other stock stabilizers, but still inferior in my opinion compared to non-standard stabilizers, especially when it comes to, you guessed it right, stability. As you can tell, these stubs have a lot of play. On the other hand, the advantage that I can see here is that since the wall around the stem is minimal, friction between plastic to plastic is minimized at some level. But the best thing here is that this keyboard actually supports screw-in stabilizers, which is absolutely awesome. And you don't even need to remove the plastic housing integrated with the PCB, which is really convenient. Unfortunately, I don't have an extra set of screw-in stabilizers, so I have to put the stock stubs back. I do, however, have some extra lube Gateron Oil King switches, so we're gonna use that. Now don't get me wrong, the ROG NX Red switches are generally okay, pre-lubed and smooth out of the box with a shorter 1.8mm actuation point targeted towards gaming. But just for variation, let's swap it out with the Gateron Oil Kings. With that said, let me go ahead and also replace the stock keycaps with Novelkeys Charcoal PBT die-sub keycaps. I also want to point out, especially when rebuilding the keyboard back, is that the silicone gaskets are fairly easy to come off, so make sure to double check each one before closing the case. As you can tell, with regards to the construction, I don't think there is a need for further modifications unless you want to try the tape and PA foam mods. Other than that, all the standard dampeners are available on this keyboard out of the box. And there you have it guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about the final build. I think it turned out pretty well. It still looks relatively close to stock, but with an overall cleaner and more interesting look, especially with the accent keycaps. Okay, so before we move on, here's the typing test for you guys. Alright, to make this review complete, let's talk about its other features, performance, and software. Here's a quick look at the user manual so you can get a glimpse of its features. What's important here is that you can connect these up to 3 devices via Bluetooth and another one via a 2.4 GHz wireless connection. You can also see here the different functions of the control knob and all the available key combinations that you can do. In terms of lighting effects, unfortunately, I cannot show them to you here because of the switches and keycaps that I used, but you have 2 options for toggling the different lighting effects, either via the traditional FN key combinations or using the multifunction knob alongside the OLED display. As for the performance, the ROG Azoth is in my opinion one of the easiest to pair and switch between devices using the multifunction knob and the OLED display. No guessing game whatsoever. The pairing process is also probably the fastest I've ever experienced on a tri-mode keyboard. Now, full NKRO also works in all modes, wired 2.4 GHz wireless connection, and even on Bluetooth. No conflicts at all, even up to at least 10 keys at the same time. I also didn't encounter any wireless stability issues. Overall, performance-wise, I have no issues with the ROG Azoth. Battery life is still up in the air, as it has yet to die on me during the duration of my testing. And lastly, in terms of the Armoury Crate software, here we can change a keys function to a different one like another key function, mouse function, macro, application launcher, and all the usual stuff. You can also customize the lighting effects here and use Aura Creator to customize it further to your heart's content. But what's important here is that you can customize how the multifunction control knob works. You can disable a particular mode if you don't want to include that in the cycle, and you can even create your own custom functions here with the same options as a regular key. Aside from that, we also have the power tab, wherein you can toggle battery alerts, sleep mode duration, and power saving mode. Of course, we have the firmware tab, and lastly, we have the OLED tab, wherein you can fully take advantage of the 2-inch display. Here you can choose between available presets or upload your own custom image or animation like what I did here. You can also use custom banners with your own text, use it as an audio visualizer, or probably the one that makes a lot of sense, use it to display system information like CPU and GPU stats. Aside from that, it can also show system notifications like emails, calendars, and alarms. As you can tell, the customization of this OLED panel is sky's the limit. Alright, so to conclude, what I like about the ROG Azoth is that it pretty much checks all my boxes. Gone were the days when we can customize the keycaps on an ROG keyboard because of the non-standard layout. We're also not limited to the stock stabilizers and switches on this keyboard, not to mention the flexibility of how you can customize the internals of this keyboard with an easy-to-access construction. Now, while completely unnecessary, I also appreciate the OLED display. It could have been useless, but thanks to the multifunction knob, it becomes a tool rather than just a fancy addition. The performance is also outstanding, and the overall typing sound and feel are better than any ROG keyboard I've ever used. On the other side of things, what I don't like about the ROG Azoth is the rather easy to scratch plastic cover for the OLED display. It's not super apparent from a distance, but definitely could have been better using a glass cover. I would also appreciate it if the switch sockets are south-facing instead of north. Other than that, the ROG Azoth is definitely worth considering and for sure a worthy daily driver material. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Full disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video, but ROG did send this as a review sample. They'll see this video the same as you. And if you're interested in this, I'll constantly update the link below. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you appreciate this video, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.